Guess who's back?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to get into our Dallas Cowboys Week 3 preview. Dallas is going to go to Seattle to face the Seahawks, the undefeated Seahawks. But before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like Dallas Cowboys and NFL content. That is what we produce. So let's get right into it. Of course, before we get into Week 3, we'll do just a small little recap of Week 2 and how that ties into what our Week 3 expectations are. The Cowboys snatched a victory from the claws of defeat, you could say, which is the opposite of what they would do under the Jason Garrett regime. They got toasted. The first quarter was probably the worst quarter of football I've maybe ever seen them play. It was really, really bad. Defense got put in some tough positions and they let them score. Offense turned the ball over 3 times and didn't really do anything. But once they got settled after that first quarter, things started kicking off. They started scoring. The Falcons kept scoring too, but by pure luck, they and I guess some skill in it, they get an onside kick at the very end and they're able to win the game. Look, I didn't expect them to win the game. I don't think anybody did, the way it was trending, but hey, a win's a win. And
an ugly win is better than a pretty loss.
I heard a couple of friends. One said, "Oh, they were lucky." One said they didn't deserve to win. And I was just like, "Hey, a win's a win." I'd much rather them learn some lessons in a victory than learn some lessons in a loss, because they need as many wins as they possibly can.
This was a win. Going off what you just said, this was a win that kind of you can take so much from, as far as the way you're gonna have to play to keep winning games, essentially. And what I feel like let's not do that again. I know we'll talk about some things leading up to this game that have come out in the news, but that I feel like can play hopefully a great role in what you've learned from these past 2 games, especially what you learned from this game leading into Week 3 against Seattle. But yeah, man, it was a wild game. Probably the most wild game I've seen since 2007, when Tony threw 4 interceptions in the first half against Buffalo. It was completely wild.
The final field goal.
Yeah, the final field goal, everything. Like I said, they found a way to win the game, and the way they played is, I'm liking it. The way that the decision making and stuff, as far as under this new coaching regime.
So, all right. Let's get into Week 3. So the Seattle Seahawks, as I mentioned, they're undefeated. In Week 1, they defeated the Falcons, who the Cowboys just played. And then in Week 2, they played a very competitive battle against the Patriots and won 35-30, stopping them on the final play to take the victory. They are going to be playing in Seattle, but it's not like the usual where they're going to have the 12th man there. It's going to be an empty stadium, so that should not be a factor at all. Just going down, offensively, they have probably the second best overall offensive player in the NFL right now, Russell Wilson. I'd still take Patrick Mahomes over him, but he's been playing lights out. I think he has 9 touchdowns and 1 interception right now.
He has more touchdowns than incompletions.
They're just letting him air it out right now, and it's everything that the fans of Seattle and analysts of Seattle were asking for, and they're doing it. DK Metcalf has taken another step up. Tyler Lockett is continuing off of a great season last year, and their offense is just clicking right now. Defensively, they're allowing a lot of points. Last week they allowed 30, they allowed 25 to the Falcons. Really, the Falcons got in their own way in that game, kind of a la the game against the Cowboys. Their defense, they have some really, really good pieces. They have arguably probably 2 of the top 10 players in the entire NFL defensive-wise in Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams, but as a whole, they're giving up a lot of yards.
Yeah. Quentin Dunbar and Jamal Adams. Jamal's great in the running game, great pass rushing guy, everything all around safety, but he is very weak in the passing game. And as far as their secondary goes, along with Jamal and Quentin Dunbar have both given up the most air yards so far this season. I think Quentin was 287 and Jamal was either 168 or 186.
I know in this past week, Jamal allowed 6 for 6, 100% completion percentage whenever he was being targeted. Edelman had a really good game going against him. But at the end of the day, he's the guy that whenever you line up, you're going to have to identify where he is, because he's a playmaker, a game breaker, and He might drop into a soft zone. He might just, freelance in the zone and pick you off. He might come on a blitz and freelance and destroy the play like he did against the Cowboys when he was with the Jets last year. He can take over a game. So you're going to have to be aware of where he is, every single play. But look, we said it from the very beginning, and it rang true this past week, week 2. The offense is going to be what wins you these games. You can't rely on this defense. So try and score as many points as possible. Let Dak air it out, because obviously the Seattle secondary has been struggling so far. I don't think they're bad. I think they've just been struggling. Almost every team has seen struggle so far this year. Even if they're winning, they're struggling in certain areas. But right now, the Cowboys' strength is and will be for this season their offense. Lean on it. Lean on Dak's arm and sling it and see what happens. See who comes out on top, because you can't trust the defense right now. I get that they were put in some tough situations against Atlanta, but your best players weren't performing at top level. And now, coming into the injury report that we see today, your secondary is going to be severely undermanned. Cheeto Wuzier, your top corner, is not going to be playing this week and probably for 3 more weeks after that. They said a multiple week injury. Trevon Diggs is injured. So he might play, but you already lost Anthony Brown last week. You're not going to be able to trust your defense unless you have a lead and you're able to lean on the pass rush, which is what is supposed to be the strength of this defense. But unless they're pinning their ears back with a lead, then they can't really get a push off. We saw that against Atlanta, and Matt Ryan's a statue. So
I think now in this league, the best defense is a high-powered offense.
Mm-hmm.
And leading into some of the things he said, I feel like, though, I really feel like if Dallas plays a clean game, they don't have a problem with Atlanta last week.
No.
They don't have a problem with Atlanta at all last week. Diggs dropped an interception. Worley dropped an interception. There's plenty of opportunities there, and some news heading into this Sunday. Griffin and I think hopefully D-Law, they're going to be more comfortable playing, and they've admitted that they'll be back in a 3-point stance this week, rushing where they feel most comfortable and where they feel they get the most out of themselves from as far as pass rush moves and everything else goes. Look, Seattle's a great team, but they have their deficiencies also. Russell has been the most pressured and most hit quarterback leading into this week. That's a huge thing. So it is time for this pass rush to step up if it's going to be any game. And really, I really feel like if they play a complete game, they do have the beneficiary on as far as position wise goes. Seattle really doesn't have anybody on the defensive line. They just lost Bruce Irvin.
Oh, Bruce Irvin, yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, they just lost Bruce Irvin for the year. They have Benson Mayo, who's a decent player who's played with Dallas recently. But it's
Demontre Moore, they're depending on a lot of subpar type second level players on the defensive lane. LJ Collier, their first round pick from last year, he showed some flashes last week, so he could be something. But especially if Tyron Smith doesn't play again. But that's something from the Atlanta game that you have to be super, super happy about. Yes, Dak was pressured early, but he adjusted to it because he's a great quarterback and was able to do that. But Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele both played pretty admirably, given that they were playing with your two best offensive linemen on the outside were not playing, and these guys were backups. I don't think you ever expected to have them both playing at the same time in a game. So, and
I don't ever believe in really paying a running back a very high premium, but Zeke really, he separates himself, and he was really able to help the tackles out this past week, and really did a great job, wonderful job helping them out, and that's where he separates himself from the rest of the league, and he's arguably the best overall back. So I feel like you're going to need that from him again, but I think if Tyron goes, I think you're in a better position even than what you were last week, and I think Knight needs to go ahead and start at right tackle, because every time he's played, he played great last year when he stepped in, and he played great Sunday.
Yep. There's 2 things that I think that you absolutely need to do to win this game that I'm not confident, or else I won't be confident in them, I think they'll be competitive, but I won't think they'll have a chance. One is get Michael Gallup involved earlier, because whenever they have gotten him involved, it's been late. You saw it against the Rams, the final play, or not the final play, but one of the final plays that was called back for OPI. I don't think there was a penalty on that. Get him the ball earlier and often, because he's a playmaker for you on deep shots. And again, against the Falcons, he made a big play there at the end, coming down with the ball. Just get him more involved in this offense. You're going to be even better with him in the game earlier. And then 2, I like the aggressiveness. I said this after week 1 in this coaching staff, but you have to be smarter about how you're being aggressive. Don't be aggressive just for the sake of being aggressive. The first punt attempt at a first down, the pass, that was executed perfectly other than the pass. Johnny Hecker wasn't the guy throwing the ball for John Fossil's special teams on that play. He perfected it whenever they were together in the Rams. Chris Jones, threw the ball short and they weren't able to get the first down. Okay, that's fine. I get it. You're trying to get back in the game. But the next one, whenever you're on 4th and 5 and you try and run it straight up the middle, maybe if it was 4th and 2, I thought that was completely stupid. Keep your offense out on the field if you're going to go for it on 4th down, period. Just keep the special teams off. If you're going to go for it, you can be a lot more deceptive with your offense out there than you can with your special teams, I think, and you have a bigger advantage that way if you're going for it on 4th down. So I like the aggressiveness, but you got to be smarter about it. And those are 2 of the things that I think that we'll need to do to win this game.
Yeah, I feel like hopefully players in the... Man, who's he still here? Crawford, D-Law... they've always they know what it takes to stop Russell. For whatever reason, for whatever reason, Dallas really has been one of the better teams in these past years, playing Russell and containing him and keeping him bottled up and not letting him really do his own thing and stuff.
In the playoff game that they beat them in, they spied Jalen Smith on him. So maybe you want to do it again, because Jalen, he had a better game last week, but if you give him a defined role like that, especially just playing chase and watch, I think that's better fitted for him than going through the mess and being a middle linebacker type. But yeah, just like you said, they have done a good job of continuing.
I'll feel good about the start of the game we feel good about the game if from the start we're able to see these things that they escaped with the win last week, and you're able to know, okay, these are the things that we need to do and improve on. These are the kind of things that we need to stop doing. Like I said, with Griffin and D-Law, they're the best when they have their hand on the ground, passing on early downs and stuff, and we saw that more as the game went on. Not so much as with the pass rush as far as 3-point stance goes, but they've already said that that's not going to be something that hopefully they're going to get back to now. So I need to see that stuff at the beginning of the game to feel confident as the game goes on, and hopefully, they always have a chance, but Seattle's arguably the best team in the NFC right now, so this is a chance to separate yourself. And also, with the struggles you see it from the division, this is a chance to, every single time I feel like in past years with the other coaching staff where they've had an opportunity to go ahead and say, hey,
let's get out in front.
They never have.
Yeah.
So hopefully they see the opportunity in front of themselves, and I think Joe Thomas too. He had a great game last week, and I feel very confident now in the linebacking core with him having a great game last week.
I think, look, I can't trust this team to win this game yet because I don't trust the coaching staff yet. The decision making that they've made in these first 2 games doesn't give me a lot of confidence. But this could be the game that changes it all, and I hope it is, and I hope they put it all together. It is early in the season. You got to give the coaches and the players a little bit of leeway because of no extended off season or anything. So I really hope this is a game that they put it all together, because the stretch of games after this isn't necessarily the toughest, but it's definitely not the easiest. It's not a cakewalk at all.
I think this third game, well, let me start with saying the first 2 games, the way you lost and the way you won, it's kind of a silver linings in that, and you're able to take away so much from it that hopefully in this third game, you're most teams don't really start finding out things until later on. You really found out quickly through the first game and second game what you're going to have to do, what you're not going to have to do, and what's going to work. And hopefully this is the game where you put it all together and you're able to play a clean game and really show your full potential.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. We'll be tuning in at 3:25 on Fox to see America's Game of the Week. It's going to be an awesome matchup. Couldn't ask for a better game to watch. But
the top 4 quarterbacks are facing each other this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can. Oh, I mean, Kyler's up there. I'll say Kyler's.
Kyler's making himself up there, but this is only his second year.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you watching the video. If you like Dallas Cowboys, if you like NFL content, please subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave a comment. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.